Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to replace the battery on this 13-inch MacBook Pro mid 2017 model A1708. Alright, so first thing we're going to need is, of course, the replacement battery. You also need screwdrivers. I'm not going to use these, but you're going to use a Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screwdriver, and then you also need a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Alright, I'll also use a flat tool like this to scrape the battery or cut the adhesive, and then we'll also use a suction cup. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is use the Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screwdriver and remove all the screws from the bottom. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I take the screw out, put the flat side down on my desk like that. In the pattern I remove it. So we have this U shape here. We're going to remove all those screws and put them in that U shape pattern. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, just like this. This model doesn't have too many screws we need to remove, so keep that in mind. The two screws here are a lot shorter than the rest, and then the two screws on these corners are slightly different. So again, it's always a good idea, keep track of your screws, don't mix them up. I think the back ones here are slightly longer, but you can see they're a little bit different. Okay, anyways, once we got all the screws out, let's go ahead and rotate this so that we get an easier angle to work on. We're going to use the suction cup. You can use tape as well. Just put two pieces of tape and stick them together like this, and you can use that as a pull tab, but suction cup is better because it's reusable. So we're going to use the suction cup. Then we're going to get underneath in between here with our fingers or fingernails. If you don't want to use your fingernails or fingers, you can use little plastic pry tools, but anyways, we're going to go under there. Okay, so as you can see, we're getting in between, and then we're going to work our way down the side. Once we do that, I'm going to use my thumb here to push down on the other part, and then my fingers to pull up on the case, just like that, and we'll pop the clips out. All right, we're going to do the same thing with the other side. Just keep going over. All right, same thing, work your way over to this side, and then same thing, pop that up. It should also pop the clips in the middle once you pop the two sides. All right, so now we're going to get a hold of the cover itself, just like this. Okay, I like to use my fingernails along the edge here, because if you put your fingers too far, you can actually cut your fingers on the edge here. Okay, so we're going to grab this. We're going to push down here with our finger and keep our other fingers wrapped over, so that way it can catch the computer so it doesn't fall over. So we're going to pull down while we're also pushing down, and just like that, it pops down. All right, you might have to do the other side. If it's too hard to pull, you can rotate and go to the other side and try and pull the other side. And just keep working your way left and right until the cover eventually comes off, just like this. Usually once you get one side out, the other side comes out pretty easily. So here you can see inside. It is pretty dusty in here, so I am going to clean this up, and yeah, I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. So we cleaned out the dust. Here you go. Set the cover aside. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is disconnect the battery. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. Alright, so before removing the battery, of course you want to make sure to turn off your computer. So it looks like they left it on. I'm just going to hold the power button and shut it off. Okay, we're going to hold the power button for about 5-10 seconds just to make sure it's completely off. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do, let's go ahead and peel this little cover back up. Alright, just peel it slowly, just like this. Alright. You want to be careful that it's not yanking anything out. There we go. Make sure that this little tab down here stays down as well. And here we go. So we're going to set that aside. We're going to switch over to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. All right. And then let's go ahead and disconnect this cable first. So make sure this little tab is up. Once you get that pull tab out of the way, flip this latch here. Okay, just like that. Once you get that flipped up, you're going to grab the cable and then pull it back just like this. All right, now that we've got that out, we're going to remove this T5 or Torx 5 screw. Again, keep it in order. They are different size, shape, and lengths. This one's much bigger than all the rest. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and look over here. So here you can see this metal tab is still being held down. So what you want to do is you want to lift this metal tab up so that it stays away from the battery connector. Okay, next we're going to remove these two little screws here. Okay, actually, let's go ahead and remove this cable so it's out of the way. This cable we are going to have to transfer over. So I'm just going to use my fingernail and flip the latch up just like the other side. Okay, once you get that latch up, you should be able to pull this cable out just like that. All right, you might want to fold it open a little bit just so it's easier to put it back on the new battery, but for now we're just going to set that aside. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove these two screws here. All right, again, keep them all in order. All right, so we got this one screw off. This screw, if you can, try and save that little water sticker, the water detection sticker. These, when they get wet, they actually turn red. I'm just using a little needle to kind of nudge it out of the way here. So here you can see we got that up and out of the way. Then we're going to take the screwdriver and undo the screw. Okay, there we go, just like that. And we got the screw out. Okay, again, set that aside and keep it in order so that you don't get them all mixed up. Okay, so now we got all of that out. Now we're going to disconnect the trackpad. So this is somewhat important. You could possibly do it without removing the trackpad, but it's always a good idea to remove it. Oh, one other thing, after disconnecting the battery, it's always a good idea to open up the computer and then press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds to drain any residual power. This will make it a lot safer to work on, so that there's less risk of damaging your computer. All right, so we'll hold it a few more seconds. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and disconnect the trackpad connector. So we're just gonna remove these two screws holding this metal plate in place. Okay, take those two screws out. Once you get the screws out, you can also lift the metal plate up and out of the way. Okay. And now we're going to disconnect or undo all the trackpad screws here. So let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit so you can see them all. There we go. Okay, so we don't need to remove these. These two are just holding these clips in place. We're going to remove the two here, the two here, so 4 on either side, and then the 2 on the outside here. Okay. Again, keep all the screws in order. Just like this. Alright, get these ones out as well. If this video helps you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others so that they can also learn how to upgrade and repair their devices. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel so that I can continue making these videos for a living. Alright, every little bit helps. These are customer computers, but as I continue to put out more of these videos, more people are able to fix them themselves and then actually slowly kill my actual repair business. So hopefully you guys can continue to support the channel, and yep, thanks for watching. So let's go ahead now and disconnect the trackpad cable here. So I just use my fingernails here on the two corners, one on the top corner, one on the bottom corner, and then you kind of just wiggle it as you kind of pull it up, and there we go. All right, you want to be careful with this cable. They designed this so that you could easily break the cable. So what you want to do, make sure that you're grabbing like under here on this area, and then we're going to pull this way while we're kind of pulling it up to try and keep the cable as flat as possible. Okay, so just like this. And I'm going to put my finger, so let's zoom out a little bit. I'm going to put my finger down here so that when the adhesive all releases, it's not going to just snap the whole cable out. All right, so just like this. There we go. Slowly pulling on the last bit. There we go. Okay, so we're going to move this cable out of the way. Here you can see this battery somewhat inflated, and that's why it's having issues. Okay, so once you got that, you're going to slowly open up the MacBook. Let me show you here. You want to be careful not to flip the trackpad over or shake it around too much. Okay, so we're just going to slowly open this up. Okay, and then we're going to let this cable drop through just like this. Okay, and then we're going to grab the trackpad and carefully move it out of the way. There are these little washers on here, so there's these rectangle ones and then these circle ones. So if you're not careful and you just move it too quickly, you're going to end up losing those washers. I'm going to try and brush some of this dust off. It looks like it's staying on there, so we might have to just leave it. But okay, some of it's coming out. Okay. All right. So we'll set the trackpad aside now. Again, you want to set this down lightly because if you drop it too hard, those little washers can just go flying off of it. Okay. All right, so now we're going to pry this battery out. We're going to use this thin metal pry tool. This isn't a sharp knife, okay? You don't want to use anything really sharp because you can cut the into the battery, and that's not good. You can start a fire, or you can even damage your computer. All right, so anyways, now we're going to scrape out the battery packs here. So let's zoom in a bit. So the way you do this, you just get underneath with the little pry tool. If your pry tool is like slightly curved on the end, you want to make sure the curve is pointing down, because if it's pointing up, it will scrape underneath the battery, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get underneath the battery just like this. And then we're just gonna push the tool under. There is a slight lip there, so if you just push, it hits on a lip, so you have to kind of tip it and then kind of tilt it up slightly as you get underneath here. All right, and then you can go ahead and cut the adhesive just like this. There we go. So here you can see it went through, and then you want to pull this back, move over slightly, and then continue the process. You don't want to just try and slice it straight down like that through the whole pack, because if you do that, you're going to end up cutting into the battery pack. So just like this. Okay. This adhesive is cutting pretty easily. Hopefully that's not a bad thing. Sometimes it means that the adhesive residue is going to be difficult to get off the bottom. All right, so there we go. We cut all of that. Once you get it all cut, you can kind of run the blade or the spatula, whatever pry tool you want to use, back and forth to make sure it's all cut. So here you can see underneath there's the foam. All right, so we're going to do the same thing with the other side. All right, so same thing. You get the tool underneath, pull it up slightly to get past that little jump, and then we're gonna get under there. It's kind of getting stuck. That side's getting stuck a little bit, so let's work our way over more here. And why isn't it cutting? Am I hitting the metal? Oh, I'm hitting the metal stop. Okay, so I had to kind of lift it up even more, and there we go. Okay. All right, now we're gonna work our way up here. Same thing. I'm not right-handed, so this is actually harder for me to do on this side. If you want, you can actually keep it turned this way, and then you can kind of use your body to help keep the thing in place. But for camera-wise, it's harder. I think it's harder for people to see if I do it this way, but I guess it's okay. All right, so we're just going to keep doing that. Let me zoom out a bit more so you can kind of see it better. And we're just going to keep cutting the adhesive just like this. All right. Just keep working your way down and cutting all that adhesive, and there we go. Okay, so here you can see we got the other side. This one can be a little trickier just because, let me show you here, when you open this up, so if you look inside here, there's all these little holes that they put in. So if you do it wrong, then it will jump through the hole, and that's why you want to remove the trackpad beforehand, because if you don't, then you might accidentally actually puncture or damage the trackpad. So here you can see from this side, all right, and you can take the scrapey tool. You can actually go from the inside here instead of going from underneath, from the back, and then you can actually see what you're doing, where the blade is going and everything. Okay, so we're just going to continue doing this. Okay, and it helps to kind of go so that the tool is between, so that way if you go in the center here like this, okay, see, it's going to be more difficult. Oh, that one's actually prying up the plastic. So there we go. We're just going to keep going over this way, cutting through the adhesive. Oh, that side's kind of stuck, so let's go over here. Let's work our way over. The battery's going to fall out real soon. I'm holding one of the packs in place. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. I'll have to answer him later, but there we go. So just like that, cutting the entire pack out. Almost there. Okay, and there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and close this back down. All right, and then we're going to slide this over. I think I might have slightly punctured this, yeah, because it was inflating a bit. So you want to be careful with that, okay? We'll set the battery aside. Okay, and you want to be careful with puncturing it because it does release some like fumes. It smells somewhat sweet, but that's not good to breathe in, okay? So you don't want to be inhaling that. Okay, so now what we're going to have to do is get all the adhesive residue off of here. I'm going to use this plastic razor blade, and let's see if we can actually scrape this up. Usually you can kind of scrape up some of it and then you can peel it, but let's see this one. Okay, it does peel. But yeah, so we'll go like that, and then we'll peel this adhesive up just like this. Okay, and you kind of want to go slowly. If you peel fast, it tears a lot easier. So again, scrape it up slightly, and then we're gonna go ahead and peel this up just like that. The residue we're gonna have to remove with some isopropyl rubbing alcohol. All right. Let's go ahead and remove all this stuff. Okay, then we're going to go down here and do the same thing. So you're welcome to fast forward over this whole part, but I like to show it just so people know what they're going to have to be dealing with. Okay, basically, let's go ahead and slowly peel this off. The better you can peel this off, then the easier it will be in the end, because cleaning this stuff can be somewhat of a pain. All right. Continue scraping this stuff up and peel this back. There we go. All right, we're going to do the same thing on the other side and in the middle. Okay. Just like this. Okay, there we go. Alright, most of it's coming out somewhat pretty nicely. Just like that. This one's leaving residue behind. When the adhesive gets older, it actually gets worse. So as these computers get older and older, expect more of this residue to get left behind. All right, let's go ahead and get this side out. There we go. Peel that up. Nice. All right. This side up. Go. And the last one. Then we gotta clean up all of this stuff. There we go. All right, and to clean up the adhesive residue, again, I like to use some isopropyl alcohol, this 91%. Okay, and then basically what you do is you get a paper towel or piece of paper towel, and then just get the rubbing alcohol on there. All right, you want to get quite a bit on there, and then you just kind of clean this stuff off. All right, it might take a bit, just keep rubbing at it, and eventually it will all come out. Okay, just keep working at it. Eventually all this adhesive residue will come out. Again, you can just fast forward through this part if you want, but if you're following along, then it's probably going to take you a while, just like this. All right, the same thing here. It also helps if you get the isopropyl alcohol on it, and then you can use the scraper to help scrape it up afterwards, because the rubbing alcohol actually softens that adhesive. Okay, so we're gonna fold it up and add some more. I'm going to go ahead and get more rubbing alcohol there. Okay, if you want, you can kind of get the rubbing alcohol on it and then go to the other side to get it started so that it can slowly dissolve it. But let's go ahead and keep rubbing all this stuff off. You can see it's slowly getting that adhesive out. Okay, most of it out. Let's go to this side and continue cleaning it off. Okay, you want to be careful not to put too much rubbing alcohol because you don't want it to drip everywhere. You just want it to stay within the paper towel so that you can clean off the adhesive residue. Just like that. Okay, there you go. Then we're going to flip it over, use a clean side. Clean that up. Okay. Here. All right, now we're going to get another paper towel just so we can completely get rid of the residue. A lot of times it leaves behind some residue. So we're going to get another paper towel and just tore a piece, fold it up. All right, and then we're just going to clean this off again. Okay, just a little bit just to make sure to get the residue out. There we go. Looks good. I switched to the dry side now to just dry it up. Alright, a little bit on the screen, so I'm going to clean that off as well. It's going to stay somewhat smudged. There's no way to get it perfectly clean. Oops. There we go. Okay. There we go. So now let's go ahead and get the replacement battery in place, and then we'll go ahead and put the trackpad back after. Okay, so the replacement battery comes like this. All right, so just like that. So what you're going to want to do here, let's zoom out. Oops. Is we're going to peel off this blue layer first, just like this. I put it on my hand so that it can stay balanced and upright, just like this. Toss that blue thing aside, and then we're going to get this all lined up. You want to slide the little controller up here underneath. All right, just like that. Get this all lined up. Make sure to slide this up towards the top, the battery pack, so that you have that gap at the bottom like before. Okay, and then get that all in. All right, and just put this down. So this adhesive looks like it's holding it kind of weird, but let's see here. Oh, I might have to lift this up a little and then, oh no, it's stuck down already. So this piece is supposed to go under there, but it's going past. So let's see if I can lift this back up. I don't know if I can. Let's go ahead and lift this. Let's use the tool to see if we can lift it. Since we didn't push it down hard, hopefully we can. Okay. There we go. Alright. Put that back out. We're going to lift this back down so that we can get this little control board back underneath. Okay, there we go. oops, make sure that this goes under as well. Little tabs coming out, but it should be going underneath. There we go. Just like that. Get that all lined up. There we go. Okay, then we're gonna peel this. You wanna actually, oops, sorry. You wanna actually roll this stuff back so that it doesn't separate the layers of the battery. Just like that, and get that into place. Perfect, same thing, roll this back. And there we go. So we got the battery into place. This piece you can align as you go, okay? Okay, so next thing we're gonna do is get the trackpad. Oh, why is this battery pack is kind of, let's try and lift this up. This one's being a little weird with the alignment. So lift this up. I didn't press it down that hard yet, so hopefully. Okay, peeling this back up because it's not lined up right. There we go. And let's go ahead and line this up right. I'll slide this back down a little bit and place that down. There we go. Okay, get that all lined up. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is get the trackpad back into place. So lift up the screen again, get the trackpad on there, guide the cable through. We are going to have to actually lift the trackpad up by hand and hold it into place. Okay, so get the wire through. Alright, now that we got it in place, we're going to hold the trackpad there, and then we're going to loosely fit the screws. Alright, so we're just going to put in, you can just put in two going crisscross like this. So we'll put one screw here first. Okay, then we'll get another screw, and we'll get that screw in there. There we go. Now you can go ahead and let go of the trackpad and slowly lower it down. And then we're going to get all the other screws in, but we're just going to loosely fit them for now. Okay. Just like this. You don't want to tighten it all the way down yet because we are going to have to adjust the alignment of the trackpad. Okay. So just loosely fitting these screws. Alright, almost there. Alright, so now that we got all the screws in, here you can see the whole trackpad can actually still move around. Oops, I should have zoomed in a bit for you guys. So here you can see the trackpad can still move around, and that's why we don't want to tighten it yet because it's not lined up properly. Let's go ahead and snap in the trackpad connector here. Just get it lined up, push it down into place. Alright, we're going to put this metal plate back on and put those two screws to hold that into place. Okay, loosely fit the screw first. Get the second screw and tighten that one into place. Alright, tighten all the screws down on there. Okay, so next we're going to run our fingers over and then push down this adhesive here. Okay, and then we're going to flip the computer over and we're going to make sure that the trackpad is lined up. So here you can see it's kind of crooked here. So what we're going to do, we're going to use some pieces of tape to do this. So usually what I do is I get a tape and I fold over the tops like that, the edges, so I can use them as release tabs, and then I'll stick the tape on there and we'll use that as a little thing to secure it. So I'm going to do this with two pieces of tape. Right, so now you want to just try and get it as centered as possible. Right, if you're not too worried about it, it doesn't affect the computer, it's more just the cosmetic look. and I like to have it as centered as possible. So there we go, looks good. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this down. And now that it's centered, let's go ahead and tighten down the screws. Okay, so it helps to do crisscross again. So we'll do one in the top corner there, and then we'll do this one. Then we can go ahead and do this one. Then we can go ahead and do this one. All right, now you can open it up, flip it over again, and make sure everything looks good, that it's centered. You can peel those pieces of tape off, and it looks good. So let's go ahead and close it back up. Flip back over, and we'll tighten down the rest of the screws here. Okay. Alright, just like that. And then you can go ahead and double check, make sure every screw is tight. Looks good. Alright, looks good. Perfect. Okay, so we got all of that in. Now we're going to put back in these screws for the battery control board. All right, let's zoom in here. All right, and let's go ahead and get those screws. So you want to make sure to push it and line it up, right? Okay. And then while you're holding it into place, you can go ahead and tighten the screw. Right now I'm just going to loosely fit it so that I can make sure I get both screws in first. Okay. Need to make sure that little sticker stays up, out of the way. Okay. Go, and then we're gonna make sure to line that up. Okay, so now that we got both screws in, we're gonna make sure this board stays lined up the way we want it to. Okay, and then while we're kind of holding that into place, we're gonna go ahead and tighten down the screws. So let's go ahead and get that lined up right. Tighten that screw down. Okay, and then make sure this looks good. Okay, you want to make sure the gold contacts in there are centered and lined up. All right, in the camera it looks crooked, but from my view it looks okay, so we should be good. Tighten that down. All right, push that down. All right, now we're going to get this ribbon cable back in. Make sure the latch is up on the new battery. Okay, get that cable in. All right, oops. That cable in. Again, it can be a little tricky. It helps to kind of flatten the cable back out, and then you can kind of use that to kind of wiggle it and push it into place. We might have to use a little tape or adhesive to do this, but let's see. Okay, there we go, it walked into place. So now that you got it completely walked in, just slide your finger over the top to latch it back down, just like that. All right, now we're going to put back this T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver, or screw, sorry. Push it down. Again, make sure you can see both gold contacts in the middle. That's how you know you have it lined up. Get that screw back into place. There we go. And then make sure the latch is up on this side over here, and we'll get this cable and put that in as well. Okay, so make sure to grab this and hold this up. All right, and then get this battery cable in. All right, just like that. Pull it into place with the tape adhesive, and then pull the latch down. And there we go. We got the battery all connected, ready to go. Now we're going to test the computer real quick. So just take the cover. Oops, let's zoom out. You don't want to put it back on properly yet. So we're just going to get one side and snap that in. Then we can go ahead and flip this over and then power it on. Most likely it's going to need you to plug it in the first time. So let's go ahead and plug this in. And then we're going to do a SMC reset and PRAM reset. So Control Option Shift on the left side, power button to do SMC reset. I don't know if it works on this model anymore. The newer ones, they got rid of that. But anyways, now let's do a PRAM reset, power it on. Command Option P and R, just hold those 4 keys. I heard it power up. the screen is coming on, and then the screen should shut back off. That's how you know you did the PRAM reset properly. If you want, you can keep holding it and it should repeat itself. You'll know the computer is working because if you press on the trackpad, you'll feel it click. This is a the click is using a haptic feedback motor, so when you click it, it's actually activating a motor. There's no physical clicking. So yeah, so here you can see it's working. If I unplug this, all right, staying on, plug it in, and it's charging, so we should be good. So I'm going to shut it down, and then I'm going to do the PRAM reset one more time just to make sure, and then we'll put back the rest of the screws. So let's power it back up. Command Option P and R. Okay, I see the screen came on, and then the screen goes off, so we should be good. Now let's go ahead and put the bottom cover back on. So the computer should be turning itself back on. I noticed their charge ports are also super loose, but that's not a repair they asked me to do, so we're gonna leave that. That would be additional if they need that fixed. I don't know if this one, I forgot. Let's see. So this model, oh, this model, it's part of the motherboard, so I don't know. We can't really do much about that. Yeah, all right, so anyways, let's go ahead and put the cover back on. So basically the opposite of how you removed it, we're gonna put it at that angle again, and then instead of pulling it, we're gonna slide it in. So you wanna make sure the sides here line up properly, okay? So get that lined up, and then when you have that lined up, hold down here, and then we're gonna push on the bottom here, okay? Let me actually zoom in or zoom out to show this better. Oop, too far. Okay, so we're going to get this all lined up. All right, get the side lined up and then slide that in. Same thing with this side, make sure it's lined up, hold that down and slide that in. You want to do this a few times just to make sure it doesn't slide back anymore. And then you want to double check that everything looks lined up. Right now, it looks like it's more over to this side than this side, so we're going to pull it back out. Okay, we don't want it to have a gap there. So let's go ahead and pull the cover back down. There we go. And line it up again. Let's actually start with this side. Push that. Then do the same thing and slide that. So it's still having a slight gap now on the other side. So I'm going to try and slide it over sideways. That looks good. All right, and now let's go ahead and slide this in. Okay, there we go. Looks good. Make sure it's all lined up. And there we go. So now you got everything pushed in. Snap those into place, push the center in, and then we'll put back the Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screws. All right, and that's pretty much it. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps again and helps me continue to make these videos for a living. Other than that, that's pretty much it. You're welcome to stay as I put back the rest of the screws. Yeah, hopefully you were able to get your battery replaced and we should be good to go. Let's go ahead and get these last few screws in. All right, and that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching. See you all in the next one. All right. Oh, if you guys are wondering, yeah, I realized I forgot this. So we're gonna line the screw up with that, and then we're just gonna roll it over. And you wanna get this lined up with this piece here. Oops, and that's how you put that back on. Okay, so I'm trying to do this with one hand right now. My customer's outside, so I don't have time to set up my camera thing, but there we go. All right, and that's all there is. Put the cover back on. Thanks for watching. See you all in the next one. Bye.